All right, everyone, you know the drill. It's dye time for the Kubey Royal. I have some human grade towels on the ready. I have a water dip rinse. I have dye heating. I have stuff to discuss. I have this fake facade hiding it all. Let's go. Boom. Before we start, I'm not sponsored by anyone and I purchase everything at retail price. And I do these videos because I love discussing knives and sharing info and ideas with others. If you have any questions or thoughts, please feel free to comment below. All right, we're already 40 seconds in and I've done nothing. Let's go. If you've watched these before, you know that they can get to be long. So I am going to try to streamline this and make it work. What I'm doing is just loosening them all just a little bit. And then removal. I had issues with the last one with a spacer like that right there, where I loosened one whole side and made the spacer spin and get stuck to the other side, and I had a hard time removing it. So this time I'm kind of loosening both sides evenly so that it's free spinning, so that I will be able to get that bad boy off without issue. Our goal here is to take everything apart and keep it fairly organized so that when we put it back together, almost off, come on, there we go. When we put it back together, it will be easy, quick, efficient. And wow, why is that spinning? Okay, it must have, the D, the one side I believe has a D. All right, so there's one scale. This is a very simple design actually. There isn't a whole lot to it. So that's the top pivot. What I usually do at this point is, I just lost that, is I will take the pivot and slide it back in just to help hold everything together, make it a little easier. That little spacer popped out right there, but I'm going to just set all that down, set the spacer right there. We have disassembled, we are good. Here are our scales. I am going to shift this over, set those scales right there, and we're going to move this out of our way. And my facade centering is off. Boom. Pretty stuff to look at. We're going to do that later. We have to stay focused here, Kenman. We don't want the time to be too long. All right. What I'm doing right now is just looking for any dust, debris, dirt, anything that I need to wipe off, because what happens if there's anything on there, when you dip it, the dye is not going to stick to that spot. And then when you wash it later, that spot will then come clean, and then there won't be any dye right there, and you won't have an even coat. I made these little hooks out of just some wire out of my shop. Very simple little setup so that I can drop them in there and retrieve them easily. And we have the dip on the stove, trying to keep her hot but not crazy boiling. The hotter it is, the faster the dip can react. All right, so now I want to make sure these are kind of positioned good. When we dip them in there, we don't want any bubbles stuck on the part. Bubbles basically become another area where the dye doesn't stick, and then you won't get a uniform color. So initially you want to make sure that all the dye is all over. As you can see, we're doing a shade of blue today. This is a different blue than the other blue that we did. If you can already tell, it's kind of an aqua blue. Looks like it's kind of chunky. That's gonna need to be stirred up maybe. Okay, so these are not bent correctly. Bend that down, get them completely submerged. I have my handy dandy stick here, give it a little stir. Dye is a powder, and you put the powder in water to turn it to a liquid, and then you can use it for dye. And so sometimes that powder will kind of settle at the bottom of the container that you keep it in, because you can reuse it. And I got those little chunks on there. See those? Those are kind of chunks of dye, and I'm trying to make sure it kind of becomes more of a uniform coat. Otherwise, that's going to be weird. I'm going to try to just... I'm going right into my rinse for a second here. Yeah, look at that. That's kind of odd. Okay, I've got some weird chunks in this dye. I'm sorry I'm off camera here. I'm just going to try to wipe this off. Look at how blue that is already. Sorry I'm off camera here. I'm just trying to get some excessive chunks. Seems like every time we do this, there is something. Alright, I'm going to drop that one in. See, like the little chunks, right? Those little chunky, little darker pieces. Those are weird. It's kind of like specks of dye that didn't dissolve right. And so I don't want them to sit in there with those chunks. So it's kind of uniform now. So I'm going to kind of just lay them in there a little more gently. See, now that doesn't have any chunks on it. It was like my dye wasn't fully dissolved. That looks better. And there was some powdery chunks that were in there that were basically going to create a chunky pattern on the surface of those scales. So I'm glad I caught that. I am just kind of wiping off dye that got on the stove. Dye is literally dye. It will stain anything permanently and never come off. So if you leave it there for a significant amount or a certain amount of time, it's not going to go away. Wow, these are already kind of where I want them to be. This is an aquamarine blue. So it's a lighter blue than the other blues that I've done. If you've seen the other videos, I have a few others that I did with a darker blue. I'm literally going to skip the knives for a second here, and we're going to do another rinse. I'm pulling my rinse down here because like I said, I'm trying to go for an aqua lighter blue. And when I go into a water bath like this, it neutralizes that dye completely. I can rinse it off, see where we're at. And if you want to go back and do more, you can put them back in and continue to do the dye. But like I said, I'm trying to go for a lighter blue. If I leave them in a really long time, it's going to end up darker like the other ones. And this is like an aquamarine. Kind of was the name of the color rather than the other one. It was just standard blue. So this is going to have a little more greenish, kind of teal sort of color. Yeah, I'm not even going to put them back in. We're done. That is interesting. If you have watched the videos from the past, you know that it's all kind of an experiment and a test. My first dye I did was, this is like the 8th one. I turned the dye off. It's no longer heating. This is the 8th one that we've done. So we are kind of learning as we go. And yeah, that's just every dye is a little different. The red, we can't really look at any of those. My hands are kind of wet. They got dye on them. The red, literally, the Vision FG was 1 minute in the dye and out. And I don't even know, we're at 8 minutes now, how long these were actually in for. But it was not very long, especially since I had to take them out to try to get those chunky texture pieces off. So I'm just trying to rinse all this. Basically, the water neutralizes the dye that's on it, keeps it from continuing to dye the part. And once we get them rinsed off good, now they're going to just stay the same color that they are. So then we can dry them off and put them back on. We might actually have a fast. Don't jinx it, Kenman. Don't jinx it. If you know, all of our videos have been longer than 20 minutes. Some of them over 30. And I've had issues along the way. Things you find, things you see, things you learn. Certain colors go fast, some go slow. The one we did with yellow actually ended up turning green because it was in for too long. Kind of like these blues ended up a little darker than I think I would have liked them to have been. Although I think I am kind of noticing the teal or the aquamarine kind of color showing up a little bit more here. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of blue. I don't have a problem with blue. So even if it's a little darker than I originally wanted it, it's still a custom dye. And we've learned from it. So there's that. So what we need to do now basically is just get these completely dry, because we don't want to put it together with any moisture on it. Any moisture under the scales can get to the frame or whatever, and then maybe potentially cause some corrosion or whatever. You know, obviously, you want to try to dry things as best as possible. Look, my fingers all turned kind of blue. All right, we are going to let these dry for a couple of minutes. I'm going to bring this over here. Let's see, it can go like this. Boom, boom. Right here, we can kind of take a look at some of the stuff we've already done. All right, make sure I'm not getting any dye. There's a couple of the other blues. It's a slightly different shade. The lighting in my kitchen, I've said before, is kind of odd. It's not as... We're not seeing the true lighter kind of green that I actually kind of can see. I'll get some better pictures later. We did this was a yellow Fair & Forge Gent 2.0, and we left it in too long and it kind of turned to this shade of green. So we kind of learned that the yellow was yellow right off the bat, but then it kind of started to drop to a green. This is the first red one we did, this Kubey Titus, sorry. This was 2 minutes in this red. It's got a nice dark red, this big beefy knife. I really like that knife. And then we did the Civivi Vision FG after that, and I only did this for 1 minute. And you can tell it has a little bit more of a, bump in the camera, kind of an orange, kind of a fire engine-y red kind of color. But 1 minute in the dye gave me that versus 2 minutes for that darker shade. The blues also... they do look kind of similar in this light. This one's definitely darker on the feldspar. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to cut my finger. Oh, that would have been nice, huh? You get a nice big cut right on camera. Yeah, I like the feldspar quite a bit. CJRB Gobi with this cool purple and the orange accents turned out really good. This dye process has been going great. The orange kind of has an Ultim kind of a look to it. Maybe a little less glowy. Ugh, can't even open. See if I can, boom. Well, yeah, the dyes have been turning out good. What does everyone think? Which ones do they like? Which one's your favorite? Which one do you want to see done next? They still got a few left to do. We might as well look at this chef's knife quick. Ugh. Zhang Sheng flickable chef's knife. Got all these to do. Just got this one with this cool button lock. This is a CJRB logo. Really cool, snappy knife. It's got this tan scale, so we're going to do something that's good. Tan's going to affect it quite a bit. Got this white Kubey Thalia. Or no, wait, this is the Coeus. That's the Thalia. Coeus. This one we're going to do a swirl kind of a dye, which is going to be different than all the other ones we've done before. We'll talk about that later. But for now, I just kind of want to get this video going. We actually can get one done in a shorter amount of time. Get these dry the rest of the way now that we've let them kind of sit in the air. Let some of that moisture finish evaporating off. Just going to go around one more time on all the little creases and cracks on the inside. Make sure it's nice and dry and all the little holes and the screw spots and stuff, so that when we put her back together, there's no little extra corrosion or anything that's going to cause any issue. But yeah, I'm interested to see how these would have looked if I would have taken them out sooner. But it's a learning process. Maybe you'll take another one sometime soon and do the same color again and see if we can get something lighter or different or whatever. Again, it's just a process that we're just doing and learning. So whatever happens, happens, and we grow and learn and build and continue. And what's everyone think? All right. Let's get her back together. 14 minutes. Not bad. All right. Just kind of double checking for any little spots moisture or anything. I think we look good. All right, let's do it. So I am going to pop this pivot back out if I can back it out of there. I just lost one of my bearings. Perfect. Alright, so that's going to make it a little bit tougher to drop in. It goes right there. This is the hardest part, talking and continuing to put her back together. It can be difficult to focus and do it all at once. Alright, now I like to usually take like a screw or the screw head and kind of go like that to try to line that stuff up. Get this thing to fall through there. Oops, alright, almost. So, we're going to put that one on there. Then we're going to drop the knife on, and we can put this bearing on the other side. And the stop pin. And we've got the back spacer piece, I guess you call it. Yeah. I might actually open that up. Might be easier. Each knife, when you put it together, has its own little quirks and issues that it might want. Okay. And here we are, not speaking. What does everyone think? Am I going to do it? Is it going to happen in 20 minutes? I can't see the time. 17. All right, boom, boom. I'm going to drop this pivot piece in and just get it started. Not going to actually screw it all the way down. Just going to get her about a quarter of the way, or maybe a little more than halfway. When you put a knife back together, you have to be careful. All right, the pocket clip's going to go on this side, so the extra screw is going to go on this side here. Was there? There wasn't one. I thought there was. There's just one body screw right there. Same kind of thing. I'm not going to fully screw that in because we want to line up the blade so that the blade is centered nicely. When you put something back together, like I was saying, you have to make sure that you keep things even. All right. We are almost... What is going on here? Is that not... Oh, that is the idiots, Dan. I had that in the wrong place. It's supposed to go right there, and I was just not quite. And I put it in the lanyard hole, not the spot that it's supposed to go. There. Man, come on. The frustration of something simple like this that I can't get to go in that little spot. I needed tweezers. Oh, come on. Penman. Oh, I see what's happening. This screw is too far in, and it was getting in the way. Just take that screw out. I apologize, folks. Every time it seems I'm getting the tweezers. I'm walking over here, not too far away. Every video, it's something. All right. See? Got it. All right, how's everyone feel? We're gonna make it. I could have got that done under 20. Oh no. I thought I lost a screw. Negative, negative. Okay, kids. So close. All right, so we're gonna close that. Tighten this down. Wait, you gotta flip this. Is this not a captive pivot? There's got to be a little dent for that to sit. There it is. You hear that? Okay. There we go. That looks like it's almost centered. After we tighten these down, we'll find out. When there's two screws, I like to go one and then do the other and then go back to the first one. Once you tighten one down, it kind of can loosen up the other one just a little bit. All right. We are centered. We are together. Might be a little tight. It is. All right. Let's back it off just a slight bit. She's centered. It opens. It front flipper. Okay. Ta-da. 22 minutes, 28 seconds. Almost the fastest. Could have been less. Had another fidgety issue. Fidgety? Is that a word for this? No. Fidgety fun factor. Yes. I was fidgeting around with that little bad boy right there. If I would have just had a little tweezers with me initially. All right, so we are complete. Here is our glamour shots. What's everyone think? It's got a very similar look of the blue of the other blues on this kitchen lighting. I'll take it outside. We can take a look. You can see this little groove right here and that groove right there. That really sticks out now. Talked about that on other ones. When you do a die, the die somehow makes the transitions and the lines pop a lot more. And there's that. Okay, so boom, got it. Let's go. Kubey Titus. We have the CJRB Feldspar. We have the Suncut Brazoria. Probably do some on the CJRB Kubey, the Civivi Vision FG. There's this Ferrum Forge Gen 2.0. We got the Civivi Ferrum Forge Collaboration Odium. And let's get them all out quick before we shut her down for the day. And the last one, boom. What's everyone think? There it is. Here we are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. We have made some scales change colors. Who's enjoying it? Who's having fun? What are we going to do next? What does everyone think? What's your favorite one? How do you think that this one turned out? We've got another one complete for the pile. This Kubey Royal. I'm pretty happy with it. Again, it's a little bit darker than I was expecting, but we got these blues. If you look at this angle, you can see that shade is different. This almost looks more purple. This definitely has more of a teal kind of green to it. We'll get her in the light. We'll take some better looks, do a little glamour shots, maybe do a couple shorts. But yeah, having fun with this. Going to keep going with the die project. Much more to come. If you made it this long, I really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that tunes in, all my subscribers. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing another knife giveaway really soon. It might be one of the ones on the table here. It might be something different. But got a lot of fun stuff coming in the future. And it's going to be fun. And yeah, that's it for today. If you enjoy what you see, please hit that like button. Subscribe to see more. Helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Another one done. More dies to come. Stay sharp. We will see you next time.